If it allow you. Peace, Peter.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir.
Good morning, sir. We're fine, sir.
Lala.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm
You all
fine.
came late to class today. Elisha. So what do we do now? Okay, what we do is that so we are going to finish after 11. That's what it means. Yeah? Is that okay? Is that okay by you? Allow you.
All right, sir.
Yes, sir. It's okay, sir. It's okay.
Okay, so I think we can we're able to finish what we were doing last week. So we just need to do a review. What was our major point last week? What did we discuss last week? What did we discuss on last week? I'm waiting, no? Is there anybody? Lala, what did we discuss last week? Nobody is talking.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
We discussed carbon intensity and greenhouse gases, energy consumption. We talk about greenhouse gases and carbon footprints measurements, and we also talked about carbon calculator, modeling tools, and the likes.
God bless you. That's Lalabi.
Yes, sir.
What of Odugbemi? Elisha.
Yes, sir. You talked about carbon calculation. I think I remember the parts.
Yeah, I can hear you. What can you remember?
Carbon calculation, sir.
How do you calculate? What is the purpose of that?
Uh,
So today we want to go to CDM methodology. I think you can see my slide. See, you can see my slide, Abby.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's what we're going to discuss today. CDM, methodologies for clean energy and energy efficiency project. A clean development mechanism project. That's what we have. CDM, clean development mechanism, is basically meant for a net decrease of greenhouse emissions below any level that would have resulted from any other activities implemented apart from CDM project. We want clean energy and we want our project to be energy efficient. So we have what we call baseline. Along with the baseline methodology are the most critical element of any CDM project toward meeting the important criteria of CDM, would result in real, measurable, and long-term benefit related to the mitigation of climate change. So the process stroke algorithm involved for establishing the baseline is referred to as baseline technology. So that we call baseline technology. A clean development mechanism project. Projects that will give us clean energy. Projects that will decrease greenhouse emission. That's the project we want to cover. I hope you are getting it now. I know somebody. I hope you know our goal
Yes,
now.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Our goal is to embark on project that will reduce emission. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the Kyoto Protocol and CDM came into force on 16 February. Kyoto Protocol, 16 February 2005, which is ratification by Russia. So the increasing momentum of this process is reflected in more than 100 projects having been submitted to the CDM Executive Board. That's CDM-EB. CDM Executive Board for approval of the baseline and monitoring methodologies, which is the first step in developing and implementing CDM project. Then we have CDM criteria. CDM criteria. What do we need to consider? The 3 global CDM criteria, as outlined in paragraph 5, Article 12 of the Kyoto Protocol, they are. So number 1, the participation of country government of respective partners in the CDM is voluntary. Number 2, the project should result in real, measurable. You be able to measure it. Measurable and long-term benefits. Long-term benefits related to mitigation of climate change. Are you getting it now? The project we are talking about, they must be real, measurable, and must have long-term benefit related to mitigation of climate change. Mitigation of climate change refers to reducing the increases in greenhouse gases concentration in the atmosphere, which are the cause of long-term changes in the climate, and to stabilizing the greenhouse gases concentration in the atmosphere. The reduction in concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere can be achieved through reduction of GHG emission or absorption of GHG from atmosphere and storing them in the medium. The process involved in storing GHG emission is called sequestration. What did I say? Yeah, what did I say? When you are storing greenhouse gas emission, what is that called?
Sequestration.
Sequestration. You store it, you capture it, and you store it. You sequester it. You must understand that should be at your fingertip. Those are the things you must be at your fingertip. Yeah? You know, when you reduce greenhouse gas emission, what kind of environment are you targeting?
Clean environment.
Yeah, clean environment. Then to get that clean environment, you need to capture, isn't it? And store that enemy that is causing confusion. And there are about 7 of them, or 6 of them. So that process is called sequestration. You sequester. So number 3, we are talking about CDM criteria. Number 3, the reductions in GHG emission from the CDM project should be additional to any that will occur in the absence of the CDM. This is referred to as the additionality criteria. Did you get that one? Additionality. Additionality criteria. What was the additionality criteria? What does that mean? If the CDM is not there, what kind of emission are you going to have? So it will be an addition. The reduction in GHG emission from the CDM project should be additional to any that will occur in the absence of CDM. How will we get this criteria now? Hello? Before I move forward, so according to, do you get all those 3 now? Before we move forward?
I didn't get the last one, sir.
The last one is, read it.
The reductions in GHG emissions from the CDM project should be additional to any that would occur in the absence of the CDM. This is referred to as the additionality criterion.
So if CDM is not there, you are going to have emissions now, are we?
Yes, sir.
If CDM is not there, you are going to have emission, isn't it? But now, the reduction in GHG emission from the CDM project. Now, when you now put CDM there now, you are going to have additional reduction, isn't it? Apart from the one that will be there if CDM is not there.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So that will be called additionality criteria. That's okay.
Yes, sir.
So now, according to that 3 you are talking about now, are you listening so that we'll get it better?
Yes, sir, I'm listening.
According to criteria 3 now, the proposed CDM project activity should not only lead to reduction. That reduction means sequestration, I mean, of GHG, but also greater reduction than those that will have occurred in the absence of CDM project activity, as even in the absence of CDM. Did you get it now? It will be greater. Is that okay? When you have CDM project, before CDM project, maybe you are removing 20 kilograms of emission. Now, when CDM project is there now, you are removing something like 40. So the other additionality is 20, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting it now?
Yes.
So an economy moves toward more efficient energy use and increased renewable energy use of whose activity also results in GHG emission reduction. When we are talking about renewable energy, sustainable energy, we are talking about emission reduction in emission. That's our target. That's our goal. Therefore, for a project to be an eligible CDM project, the GHG emission reduction should be greater than or additional to the GHG reduction that are expected to occur in any case. If you're having 20 before, now you put CDM project there now, should be having something like 60. Hello, somebody. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, look at this one now. This is the essence of being real according to criterion 2 now. Measurable reduction implies that a proposed CDM project should result in reduction that can be physically verified. So somebody asked a question last week that there are social and protocol office that reward people as far as carbon prints is concerned. So if you set up a project, maybe in a village, in a community, that will bring down their carbon footprint, carbon emission, that will bring it down. It must be measurable. It must be physically, that reduction must be physically verified before you get there to install renewable energy. What were their emission? Now, when you install this now, what is the emission now? That's how to convince the government and they can pay you. So long-term benefits or reduction imply that CDM should result in adoption of practices technologies that result in a long-term trend toward lowering of GHG emissions in the economy. Long-term benefit of reduction. CDM should result in adoption of practices technology that result in a long-term trend toward lowering of GHG emissions in the economy. So the CDM project should affect the way energy is produced and or consumed in the host country economy, or should affect a shift toward less carbon-intensive energy sources. Now, we have projects eligible for CDM. What kind of project? Eligible for CDM. For the project to be eligible for CDM, the activities involved must result in reducing emission of one or more of the following 6 greenhouse gas emissions, namely carbon dioxide. Your project is eligible, must be able to remove 1 or 2 at least or more. Methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbon, and sulfur hexafluoride. So these project activities reduce greenhouse gas from energy use and production, fuel combustion, and fugitive emission from fuel. Industrial processes. Industrial processes, use of solvent and other products. The agriculture sector and waste management. Projects that sequester, that store carbon in biomass through afforestation and afforestation activities are also eligible under CDM. I hope you get the message now. When I want to talk about projects eligible for CDM, for carbon development mission. Project eligible for CDM. Continue. The following type of GHG mitigation or sequestration project and activity can be eligible for CDM. Energy efficient improvement, fuel switching, for example, coal to natural gas or coal to sustainable biomass, renewable technologies, energy technologies, combined heat and power. Those are projects that are eligible. Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
So those are projects. When you talk about renewable energy, they are the one that can reduce emission because they are renewable, isn't it? So when you are changing, when you switch, if you switch some coal to natural gas or coal to sustainable biomass, those are projects that are eligible. Emission reduction from such industrial processes as manufacture of cement, capture and destruction of GHGs other than methane, emission reduction in the transport sector. You know, you can decide to reduce emission in the transport sector. In a community, you have around 1,000 vehicles, and the emission to the environment will be a lot. And you switch, you change fuel. Maybe you change to CNG, isn't it? Then you are going to a lot of emission will be reduced. Is that okay? Then we have emission reduction in the agricultural sector. Yes. Afforestation, forestation and deforestation, modernization of existing industrial units, equipment, using less GHG intensive practices, technologies. Retrofitting, that's what we call retrofitting. Retrofitting. What did I say?
Retrofitting.
Retrofitting means you have existing equipment that is emission is not satisfied, isn't it? You can modernize it. You can adapt it so that it will not emission will be highly reduced. Is that okay? Instead of throwing it away, you retrofit. Huh? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So, definition of baseline and its context in CDM. So, what do you mean by baseline? Baseline. The concept of measured reduction is based on a comparison with some defined level of GHG emissions. This comparative level against which the reductions of GHG emission due to a CDM project are measured is termed a baseline. Do you understand the baseline now? It's like a standard, isn't it? If you want to carry out a project, there must be a threshold, Abby. You must have a standard. We call it at time in chemistry, in science, they call it benchmark. Hello, somebody.
Yes, sir.
You don't understand what I'm saying? What I mean by baseline now?
Yes, sir.
La.
Yes, sir.
Baseline. You must have it like you have a benchmark, isn't it? You have something to compare with. So the Marrakech Accord defined the baseline for a CDM project activity as the scenario that reasonably represent the anthropogenic emission, that is the emission from us, from women, by sources of greenhouse gases that will occur in the absence of the proposed project activity. If that project activity is not there, what kind of emission are you going to have? Therefore, the baseline is emission that will have occurred in the absence of CDM project activity. The proposed CDM project will result in reduction of GHG emission only if the GHG emission from the proposed CDM project are lower than the baseline. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that one?
Can you please take that again, sir?
Well, I'm saying that the baseline is, now let me start it from the Marrakech Accord. Define the baseline for a CDM project activity. You want to install renewable project in a village. The scenario that reasonably represent the anthropogenic emission. Those are emissions from us, for human beings, by sources of greenhouse gases that will occur in the absence of the proposed project activity. Your CDM project has not been there, but you have information, you have data for the gases greenhouse gases that are there, isn't it? Therefore, the baseline is emission now that would have occurred in the absence of CDM project activity. So you have that already. Before the CDM project activity, you have all those data for the greenhouse gases that will occur. Now, so the proposed CDM project will result in reduction of GHG emission only if the greenhouse gas emission from the proposed CDM project are lower than the baseline. If the baseline before the CDM project maybe it's 40 kilograms of carbon that you are emitting, then with your CDM projects now, you now have 15. Do you get it now? Hello, somebody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
Okay. Now, there are key concepts for baseline. Key concepts. For baseline. What are the key concepts for baseline? Number one, a baseline should be defined on a project specific basis. Project specific basis. Is that okay? You want to do renewable energy project? Project specific basis. Project specific basis. Do you understand that one? It should be prepared adequately considering relevant national or sectoral policies and circumstances such as sectoral reform initiatives, local fuel availability, power sector expansion plan, and the economic situation in the project sector. A baseline should cover emissions of all the gases from all sectors and source categories within the project boundary. The project boundary should encompass all anthropogenic emissions by sources of greenhouse gases under the control of the project participant that are significant and are reasonably attributed to reductions in anthropogenic emissions by sources within the project boundary. Measure from the baseline emission should be adjusted for leakage. Leakage is defined as the net change in anthropogenic emission by sources of greenhouse gases which occur outside the project boundary and which are measurable and attributable to the CDM project activity. Choices of approach, assumptions, methodology, parameters, data sources, key factors, and additionality for developing a baseline should be transparent and result in a conservative estimate of baseline emission, taking account of uncertainties. The baseline may include a scenario where future anthropogenic emissions by sources are projected to rise above current level due to the specific circumstances of the host country. Now, the project participants should select the most appropriate approach developed out of the three baseline approaches recommended for choosing a baseline methodology. Project participants shall select a crediting period for a proposed project activity from one of the following alternative approaches. A mark of 7 years, which may be renewed at most 2 times, provided that for each renewal, a designated operational entity determines and informs the CDM Executive Board that the original project baseline is still valid or has been updated, taking into account new data where applicable, or a maximum of 10 years with no option for renewal. All the information used by project participants to determine additionality, to describe the baseline methodology and its application, and to support an environmental impact assessment for the project must be made public and shall not be considered as proprietary or confidential. Now, we have the key elements of baseline technology. Key element now. There are elements of baseline technology methodology. A baseline methodology is a description of the process of establishing a project boundary, identify the baseline scenario, step to prove additionality, step for estimating emissions, and step for identifying and estimating leakage. I hope this one is very clear. We have talked about this severally, isn't it? Establish a project boundary, identify the baseline, are we okay scenario, step to prove additionality, step for estimating emissions, and step for identifying and estimating leakage. Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Now, there are 6 key elements of a baseline methodology, and we are presenting them. Number 1, applicability of the baseline methodology. Applicability. Applicability of baseline methodology define the condition under which the baseline methodology can be used to establish a project specific baseline. Conditions. Now, the condition provide the context within which the methodology is applied and must be project specific. However, the methodology used to develop the baseline for a project may be usable for other projects of similar nature. For example, a baseline methodology developed for a landfill gas capture CDM project in a country could be applicable to similar projects in other countries. Each methodology, as it exists, is developed with a specific purpose CDM project in mind. So these projects address very specific measures for reducing greenhouse gases and operate in given sectoral conditions, characteristics under a given set of policies, regulations. Some or all of these factors affect the baseline scenario and hence the baseline. If the data used in the methodology to estimate emission, baseline, project, or leakage are not available in the case of a project, then the methodology is not applicable to that project. So the substitution of different sources or type of data for what was stated in the original methodology imply modification of the methodology, which is not permitted. So we're talking of data here now. If those data are not available to estimate emission, baseline, project, or leakage, they are not available, then it's very difficult to carry out that exercise. Number 2, the baseline scenario. So the baseline scenario describes the activities that will have been implemented in the absence of the proposed CDM project. The guidance on baseline suggests that identification of baseline scenario should capture the likely changes in the project sector, economy due to the national or sectoral policies. For example, selection of baseline for energy efficiency and renewable CDM project in countries where improvement of energy efficiency and promotion of renewable energy are regularly part of national energy policy will be different from that in countries where such policy either do not exist or may not be implemented. Moreover, economic and demographic parameters selected in the methodology should be consistent with that provided in national and sectoral policy documents. The MET panel recommended that the following 4 types of national or sectoral policies should be considered while developing the baseline methodology. So we have 4 now: A, B, C, D. Type E+. Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to be sure. Type A plus. Existing national or sectoral policies or regulation that create policy-driven market distortion. We give comparative advantages to more GH emission intensive technology or fuel against less emission intensive technology of fuels. Type B. Type E minus. National sectoral policy or regulation that creates public subsidy, like I take B again, national or sectoral policy or regulations that create positive comparative advantage to less GHG emissions intensive technologies against more emission intensive technology. For instance, public subsidy to promote the diversion of renewable energy or to finance energy efficiency programs. Type L now, sectoral mandatory regulations introduced by local or national public authorities for reduction of local negative environmental externality and energy conservation, which incidentally reduce GH emissions. Type L plus, sectoral mandatory regulation introduced by local or national public authorities for reduction of local negative environmental externalities, which incidentally prevent the adoption, diversion of less emitting technology. So those are the four. Can we get national or sectoral policy should be considered while developing the baseline? So those are the four we have. The base. Are we okay with those four now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, number 3, baseline approaches. Baseline approaches. The 3 baseline approaches described below have been recommended by the Marrakech Accord in the guideline for establishing baseline. If you want to establish baselines, these are the guidelines. Number 1, the first approach involves existing actual or historical emissions. Hereafter, approach A. This is applicable to cases where the analysis of the baseline scenario indicate that the most likely activity implemented in the absence of the proposed CDM project is the continuation of existing activities. To continue with the landfill CDM project example, recall that the current practice in the host country is zero collection of methane generated from municipal solid waste disposed at the landfills. Yes. There are other options available for curtailing emissions from a landfill, for example, treatment of organic waste before disposal in a landfill or system for methane collection at the landfill. The more likely scenario is continuation of the present practice. So the baseline approach to be used in such a case, approach A. We have second approach now, approach B. Approach B is based on emissions from a technology that represents an economically attractive course of action, taking into account barrier to investment. This approach is applicable to situations where economic analysis is undertaken to identify most attractive option among various options, which include the CDM project activity. The emission from the economically most attractive alternatives are the baseline. Very good. For the landfill CDM project example, say the alternatives available are continuation of the current practice, that is zero collection of methane generated from landfill, treatment of organic waste before disposal to landfill, methane emission from landfill. So,
Hello, sir. Excuse me, sir.
yeah.
We
I
can
can
no
hear you.
longer see your screen.
Okay.
Yes.
I will, okay. I will share you. You can see now.
Yes, sir.
So I'm saying that suppose the analysis of the situation indicate that treatment of organic waste before disposal at the landfill site is economically most attractive alternative. Then the baseline scenario is treatment of organic waste. Treatment of organic waste before its disposal to landfill, and this baseline approach is supposed to be. In this example, the baselines in terms of emission from a landfill under the condition that organic waste disposed at the site is pre-treated. You see the scenario now. Now, let's look at C. The third approach is based on the average emission of similar project activities undertaken in the previous 5 years in similar socio-economic, environmental, and technological circumstances, and whose performance is among the top 20% of their category. Hereafter, approach C. To continue with the landfill CDM project, say there are 4 alternatives other than the proposed CDM project alternative available to curtail the methane emission from the landfill. None of the 4 alternatives can be clearly demonstrated as economically most attractive. So the baseline scenario then is based on analysis of alternatives implemented during the last 5 years. So the baseline approach in this case will be approach C. The average emission of the option most commonly used in the previous 5 years and whose performance among the top 20%. Did you get all those 2-3 approaches to talk about? Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm targeting, we'll stop at a slide maybe 20. So the 3 are aching. The three are akin to options available for implementing the project. So project proponent choose either to continue with an existing commonly used process, technology, or to adopt a newer option available in the market that has come to be preferred over a more commonly used option in recent years. If more than one new option is available, the proponent choose the most economical option that meets all the regulatory requirements. But in the absence of adequate information or differences among various new options, any of the options from the new option could be chosen. Know that these are the approaches to develop a baseline. The formula or algorithm to estimate emission under the baseline scenario should be consistent with the baseline approach. For example, it is proposed to replace a boiler that provides steam at a facility under a CDM project. If the chosen baseline approach is approach A, then the baseline emission estimation formula will consist of formula for estimating emission from use of the existing boiler. If approach B is chosen, then the formula for estimating baseline emission will be for the boiler type that is most economical. For approach C, the formula for estimating baseline emission will be the average emission of the type of boiler used for the same project in similar kind in the last 5 years. I think that's very clear, isn't it? We have a good example here. Eh? You want to replace a boiler that provides steam at a facility. There are three options. It's either A, B, or C. Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so we talk about baselines now. Baselines. The baseline is the emission in the absence of the proposed CDM project as earlier defined. Baseline describes the formula for estimating the emission in the identified baseline scenario for the proposed CDM project. It also includes the description of source of data for parameters and variables. Then we'll talk about project additionality. Project additionality. Additionality is the key element of the baseline methodology. There are two components of additionality that should be satisfied by a proposed CDM project. Number one, the project emission sequestration storing out are less greater than the baseline emission sequestration. Two, the proposed project should not be a baseline option. Option two, a methodology should include steps to analyze the additionality of the project. The CDM Executive Board has prepared a consolidated tool for assessing additionality. The following steps were suggested by the tool for assessing additionality. You want to assess additionality, there are tools that you are going to use. One, identification of alternatives to the project activity. Two, investment analysis to determine that the proposed project activity is not the most economically or financially attractive option. Number three, barriers analysis. Number four, common practice analysis. Number five, impact of registration of project as a CDM project on the investment and other barriers faced by the project. So The CDM, Esebo suggested tool for assessment of additionality. It's not mandatory. Project proponent can develop their own processes for establishing the additionality of a proposed CDM project. I want us to stop here. So that tomorrow can continue.
Okay, sir.
So any question here? If you have any question from what we have done, we still have about 20-something slides, which we're going to see. So tomorrow we have a review of what you have done. So I will send the slide to you. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
will send the slide. Then you read it before. Then we do a review, and then we continue. So, Lala, Orelua, maybe the lie. Yeah. Mukoro. Yeah. So tomorrow we are still meeting at 10, Abby. Is that okay? On our timetable.
Hey, let us
Is that
check,
okay?
sir.
Eh?
Yes, sir. It's 10.
Okay.
It's at 10.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So let's prepare. I will send the slide to you and print that. So bye.